So what I thought I'd do is that I thought I'd become honest Rachel Reeves for the purpose of this exercise and deliver you a budget speech, which, if she was telling the truth and what she really feels. So, if you'll allow me to go ahead, it's right here. It's just a couple of pages. It won't take too much time.
Please,
But this is
please,
based.
Simon, before you start, let me call this house to order so that you may have a clear platform to deliver the speech.
Thank you. That was kind of you. That was most thoughtful. So this is basically like Rachel Reeves being honest. Okay, um, Mr. Speaker. By the way, I don't like that. Okay, I much preferred when Willie Madisha was in Parliament and you just heard Speaker, Speaker the whole time, and that was sort of away with the Oxbridge pleasantries. Um, so, Mr. Speaker, my fellow parliamentarians who I join and in some cases lead as the most underperforming, worst value for money generation in the history of political elites. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the death spiral. Lol. Today, the tax burden I impose upon the middle classes, I do so for a few reasons. Firstly, because they're a bit odd. Like, why be so aspirational the whole time? Secondly, because I hate them, as most of you do, across all party lines. None of us want them as supporters because they are the ones who call the whole time and leave messages at our constituency offices like, there's a wall, there's a garden, there's a wall in my garden that is falling down. Just let it fall, peasant, and preferably lie underneath it before it does. Mr. Speaker, let me describe the mansion tax that I have today imposed. Some of the greatest thinkers in the history of the world, from Karl Marx to the Weather Underground in California, the Black Panthers, Shining Path in Peru, and indeed our dear friends in Mkhonto Wesizwe, have given us all the wisdom we need. You can't actually live in two houses. You only need one. But because you insist on two, or in some cases three, you're going to get the Black Panther treatment in taxes. These taxes will set forth in motion events that in years to come will eventually see the confiscation of these very houses. We will raise them, and in their place we will build memorials to George Floyd, puberty blocker cafes, net zero study resources, which will be powered by palm oil that was totally worth making orangutans extinct for. Mr. Speaker, we'll take all those taxes and we'll give them to people who also hate you, but aren't in government. And because there are more of them than there are of you, there's no prospect for loss for us. Those people will be kept in seed oils, Lucozade, processed turkey Twizzlers, giant chunks of yellow Gouda, and because I'm inclusive, chicken jalfrezi. And if you think this diet is sending them to an early grave, I've got news for you, suckers. That money will also be spent on Ozempic, which, like everything else, they'll get for free thanks to you. I'm a woman. That doesn't mean I think that there are only two sexes, but you will submit before me. Recently, I was invited to a meeting of North Sea oil companies. A man in a suit, a man, had the temerity to ask why I was taxing North Sea oil companies so heavily. So I said to him, you will respect me. I am the Chancellor of the Exchequer, the first woman to be Chancellor. And as I told both the Times and the Financial Times of London, the reporters they sent me, by the way, just like my own team, 19-year-olds with gender study degrees, I am just sick of the mansplaining. Mr. Speaker, now, as I was saying, you're all FUCED. In the last week, in the last few weeks, a number of leaks have occurred. This has been, by orders of magnitude, the leakiest of leaky budgets. And there's a reason for that. It was deliberate. You see, we consider these leaks as one feature of a wider demoralization campaign, one that involves the consistently hopeless Bank of England failing in its mandate to lasso inflation, or the Office for Budget Responsibility failing in its predictions of tax collection, or our decision to give away the nuclear accommodating naval base of Diego Garcia, along with billions of cash to the government of Mauritius, or even our willingness to sit down with proponents of reparations who are asking for around 14 trillion pounds. By the way, I've told them that they should be aiming for 25 trillion pounds, and I'm determined as a woman to ensure that they get it. Growth is a stupid idea. Flatlining, on the other hand, is marvelous, but not as exciting as decline, which is where I'm taking the economy. Around the drain, off the cliff, out the window. Call it as you wish. Everything here is fair game, and by the time I'm done, you'll ask yourself, what was I thinking? Saving, paying my taxes, volunteering, donating, possessed by vigor for risk, with the goal of building real wealth. Very, very irresponsible. Mr. Speaker, I would like to pay tribute to the great women who have gone before me. Valerie Solanas, the artist and feminist icon, and don't come at me with the stuff about her trying to kill Andy Warhol, because you'll just sound like another one of these idiots trying to draw our attention away from billionaires to the Sudan, where nothing's wrong, by the way. Harriet Harman, the deputy leader of Labour, who once wrote a thoughtful letter urging us to go easy on the pedos, sorry, minor attracted persons. She was also ruthlessly attacked by the kind of people who owned 2 homes for declaring her love of Fidel Castro. Hillary Clinton and her beautiful daughter Chelsea, women who have never lied or stolen cutlery from the White House, bleached evidence at any point, and of course Greta Thunberg, who isn't filled with hatred, who is charming, mild-mannered, as you discover when you sit down with her at her family's 3rd home. This is the one by the lake in Sweden. Winnie Mandela, wow, my hero. In fact, I like Winnie more than anyone in the history of the world ever. When I was working in a bank, rather at the IT help desk in a bank's call center, I used to daydream about fighting alongside her. By then, she was dead. Whatever. Um, Mr. Speaker, give me, I'm just so inspired. One of the greatest philosophers in history, Meghan Markle, recently said, "You are strong," and I took that to mean me. Actually, she wrote it on a banana and gave it to a sex worker in Bristol. Well, I am strong, and today I have taxed every living organism in the United Kingdom. By this evening, there will not be an atom without a 100% VAT tag attached to it in the land. The taxes are as follows: gambling tax hike, milkshake tax, taxi tax, pay per mile EV tax, mansion tax, milkshake tax, tourist tax, and they're going to be even more. This is because multiculturalism, like recycling, is important. Mr. Speaker, I recently had the pleasure of meeting the Hawatag family, formerly of Mogadishu, Somalia. They came as refugees, but 2 weeks later returned there for a holiday, something they frequently repeat, and I think that's just wonderful. They also reside in a 7-bedroom house in Hampstead the council has very thoughtfully given them, and I'm delighted to tell you that their eldest son, Jamal, has recently been appointed the leader of something called an Al-Shabaab chapter. Jamal was educated in the state schooling system, which will receive even more of your taxes. If anyone doubts the model of youth mobility in this country, just look at young Jamal and the bright future that he is making for himself. Mr. Speaker, in closing, I announce new measures against inheritance, the continuation of the war against farmers, and taxes on bottled latte in supermarkets. This is one of these areas where people locate delusions of middle-class grandeur. I also announce 75% pay rises for all civil servants. These are the people dragged into select committee hearings and described as woke or useless or out of their depth by right-wing politicians. I'm also reducing the number of working days from sometimes 3 to even 2. Tuesdays are the new Mondays, and they can leave at 3 p.m. on Wednesdays. It would be remiss of me not to address a meeting that occurred on the fringes of South Africa's recent hosting of the G20. There, another man called Jonathan Oppenheimer, revealed that the roadworks required to turn an 18-mile stretch of land on the A66 from a single carriageway to a double carriageway will take 30 years. 30 years? How about never, Jonathan? How about watching the evolution of man's features in the guy holding up the red or the green flags as you wait to go? Mr. Speaker, we're in for a rough ride, a very dark, cold, uncomfortable hole from which it will be possible to escape. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I commend the speech to the House. If she'd been honest, she would have said that. There we go.